This is a Sony Watchman, and it's kind of useless as it uses an analog TV signal, which no longer gets broadcast here in the US since 2009. So I can't do much with it because it has no video input. So, well, if you follow me on TikTok, you know that's no longer the case, as we've modded this thing. Well, I've unmodded it because now I'm going to do it better. Now, I've discovered, thanks to some random guy on Reddit, that pin 18, which is this pin right here on the jungle chip, is the video, so that is where we're going to slam our AV input. And then for audio, after probing around on the board, I realized it was pin 13. And then I realized it was labeled as audio, which I didn't realize. I was just probing around using a freaking function generator. But I figured it out, so that will make it so we can slam audio in right there and be able to adjust it with the original audio adjustment knob and have it internally amplified and all that fun stuff. So that's what we need to do. We need to slap all that stuff in here, but I also want to make this thing rechargeable. I made this world's sketchiest battery pack on my TikTok. This is a 3.7 volt lithium-ion battery pack. I have two of the 16340s, I believe, batteries connected in parallel here, so we have a little bit extra capacitance. Don't worry about balanced charging. It's only 2 cells. I'm sure it'll be fine. We're going to be using these 2 female audio and video jacks here. We're going to be using one for audio, one for video, because we're just going to do mono because there's only one speaker. So these are what we're going to use. The problem is, these are quite large, and I gotta fit them in right here where the original batteries would go. So to do that, I actually modified this back panel. I thought about 3D printing an entire back panel, but that would take hours to design because I'm a bad designer, and I don't want to waste that much time. So I designed a new battery cover because I was missing that. But now that I removed the battery compartment, we're gonna be able to fit, hopefully, all of these electronics in here. It's gonna be a tight fit, though. This is all the more storage we have to fit this battery pack in here somehow, both of these jacks, and this little battery voltage controller board bullshit. That's gotta be a tight fit. A really tight fit. Okay, I need to connect all the wires. To do that, I think I'm gonna use this, I think it's 26 gauge, and we're gonna connect all the stuff up here so we can run it down to the battery compartment and try to use up as much not as much, as little space as possible, because we do not have extra space. So let's connect all this. Okay, so all of the wiring is done. As you can see here on pin 13 of the jungle chip, with the removed jungle chip, I fully removed it, is the audio, which is green, and then on pin 18 is the yellow, which is video. And then down here we have our ground hooked up right here and our positive hooked up right here. I have them hooked up to a bench, so let's make sure this thing still turns on. And yep, it does. So we're good. Now it's time to put the case back together. Okay, I had to move the ground over actually because it was covering up that screw hole, so now that's where the wiring is. All of the wires are run and the case is put back together. We have our audio and video, we have our positive for the battery, we have a negative for the battery, and this also acts as our ground for video and audio, so here is the 4 wires we need. Now, I need to figure out the layout of how I'm going to put this in, because I gotta figure that out. I'm thinking, as much as I'd like to have the video ports and stuff on the side, they're going to come out the back. There's not enough room on the sides, so unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to have this thing lay on its back, which kind of sucks, but we'll build a kickstand for it, I guess. But for now, we're going to have to put them on the back. Unfortunately, it seems no matter how I put this in here, like this, over here, like this, it doesn't fit. It sticks up too high to fit this cover on. So, unfortunately, what we're going to do is, kind of like what we have up here, this little bump, we're going to add a bump down here, you know, to make it level, but to secretly, to be able to fit the battery pack. I should have just used a puck spell, not a puck. What are those? Just like, you know, the phone-type batteries, the cell-type cells. So, oh well. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find a direction this fits. I can put it in like that, but then it sticks up way too high. I can't fit it in here, it's too big. I can only lay it flat in here, and then you can't get to the charging port. So, I've decided I'm going to cut it in half. Yeah, that's kind of stupid, but that's what we're going to do. See, if we look at this board, you can see that there's actually only one trace that's actually connecting this top half, which is this one right here. None of the other traces cross that line. Now, on the bottom half of the board, there's no traces. It's just one solid ground pad. So that's our positive wire there, and that's our ground. So we just can just cut this board in half and then run the 2 wires. So I think that's what we're going to do, because then it might be able to fit a little bit better. You know, I probably should have tested this thing before I ruined any warranty this thing ever had. So let's hope it works. Okay, right there is the charging port. We're going to put it right there. Now I'm going to put some Kapton tape in between these two boards, and I'm going to take this board and just mount it on top of it. So we're going to put some Kapton tape in between them so nothing shorts, but it shouldn't short anyway, but just be extra careful. Boom. We have invented the multi-layer PCB. So now we need to attach those two traces that I cut. So let's do that. It should be repaired now. We got our positive, and our negative to negative. So it should be good to go. That doesn't look sketchy at all. But can't be any more sketchy than everything else we're doing. Okay, I've adjusted the pot so it outputs exactly 6 volts when the battery is connected. So now we need to make sure it doesn't come undone. And I'm just going to use this nail polish just because it's really easy to remove. So if I ever need to readjust it, it's not hard to remove. So let's just put a little bit of this on there and keep it from adjusting itself. Because if it does, we could blow something up, which would kind of suck. Okay, now we have our negative and positive hooked up for the actual unit. So now we just need to put the battery in and hook that up, and we'll see if this thing will run off battery power. Okay, this is looking awesome. I put the battery in so I can get a measurement of how high I have to make the bump on the battery compartment. It looks like it won't be any higher than this one up here, so we should be good. I'm also going to print off a little plug cover for that. So this is going to look sick. That is awesome. I'm also going to make it so the back cover has a little thing that comes down to put pressure on the back of this board, because whenever you plug in a USB, I'm afraid it's just going to shove the board in, because it's just held in with a little bit of hot glue, I'm going to admit. So if we can get the plastic to encase that, I think this will be awesome. It is already looking awesome. Look at that. Beautiful. Hell yeah. Okay, panel's in. I forgot to put holes in the design, so I just drilled holes in it and then mounted these two in here. They're really tight together. I'm hoping that won't be an issue. Let's find out. These are the fattest, most overkill AV cables I've ever seen, so let's make sure these will actually fit in that plug. And they do. Just barely. So we're good. The issue is these tips are going to be really close to touching that circuit board. So we're going to put a few layers of Kapton tape on that circuit board, and we're going to cut off this tip a little bit. So we have a little bit less spot to solder onto, but a little bit extra millimeters. We'll get like maybe 2 or 3 millimeters there. Because while it fits just sitting on there, if somebody were to push this down, it might collide into that board, and that would be bad. Okay, I got some Kapton tape in there, and I cut off the tips, so it's time to connect the wires. We're going to connect the purple, which is ground, to these two right here, and the green to this one, and the yellow to this one for audio and video. So, let's do that. Okay, everything is connected up. Let's plug this thing back together and see if this thing works. I think I'm going to actually keep the antenna. I think if I put this in here, I can actually use this as a kickstand. Maybe? We'll find out. Let's see. Okay, that actually works amazingly. Okay, awesome. Also, it just makes it look slightly cooler because it still has the original antenna. So, win-win. But yeah, that's awesome. I don't have to design a separate kickstand. It has one built in. That's amazing. Now let's see if this thing works. We're using all the adapters. We go on VGA to HDMI, the other way around, HDMI to VGA, VGA to CGA card that gives me a V out over to here, and then for audio we're doing this sketchy ass 3.5 to RCA adapter I quickly made. So let's see if this thing works when we turn it on, and the answer is... yeah! That is sick. Perfect. Look at that. That is beautiful looking. When we have audio, we can adjust how loud it is. That is sick. And that quality is amazing. Now, because I can read the future, I know everyone's going to ask, can it play Doom? And yes, it can. Here you go. It's playing Doom. Unfortunately, I can't play Doom because I can't see the screen. It is way too small. But yeah, it works. This is sick. It looks amazing. I mean, it's black and white, but that's awesome. It looks so good. I genuinely can't believe how good it looks. But hey, it works. It still works even if we just put it on the sound mode. It still works as just a speaker. So that's awesome. Apparently I forgot to record an outro. So hey, if you like this, please like and subscribe. If you want to see more, follow me over on TikTok. I post a lot more often over there because it's a lot easier. But hey, here it is. It works awesome. What do you want to see output on this thing? Because I can connect it to pretty much whatever I want.